welcome to another, of course, always exciting, unusual, and a little wacky at times, Gem Collectors with Shawn. I am that Shawn, and I feel like I still need to be in the beginning of the year. Welcome all of you who have found me through YouTube, and hopefully the message will get out to where more will find me. I know the Little Rock, our Little Central Rock family may may decrease your odds on winning some of those amazing trivia gifts that we give out at the beginning of each show after answering the questions left over from the week before. So we do have a great trivia gift to give today because we do have some trivia winners. Now, just a quick rundown. If you find this show new, well, we're part of the Gem Shopping Network. That means that you have the entire backing of a 30-year established network, 24/7, coast to coast and beyond, powerhouse of a network that not only stands behind the product, you have all the guarantees that a company this size and this well established can offer. 30 days return, even on rocks and minerals. Plus also, if in 3 a.m., if you can't sleep and you say, well, let's just watch a little bit of the Shawn show here, and you see, wow, you're going back some shows back and you're checking some things out, you're writing down numbers, because you know what? All those items are potentially available for purchase if they have not been previously sold. And you know what? Call. We have, and we know them so well because I've been here 14 years. The Raven has been here 12 years. And they know the show well. They know that there's nothing wrong with you if you want to order a rock at 3 a.m., okay? It's just completely normal. We used to do our live show at 3 a.m. for 9 years on Monday from 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. in the morning. And believe me, that show, we took from a sleepy little show and built it into something very large. And on Rocks Minerals, of course, we branch out. Jewelry, yes, you're going to see some jewelry in today's show. And in the end, for those of you that follow that wedding set and who love that wedding set, my son's mom, I don't even like to call her an ex-wife. That just sounds too dirty. My son's mom is the one that donated back the ring to me 9 years later after I had made it or so. And it sold right away. And it could have sold 3 times, I think. So you never know what you're going to see. And I certainly wouldn't have expected that. She watched my comments that I had said about that piece and the sentimental side that I felt, and all the wonderful love that went into making it, and of course the wonderful son that was a product of that union. So there's a lot of powerful, magical energy, I think, transferred into that piece, and I'm glad to see that all of you and in your comments felt the same way in regards to that. And I think it actually moved her that I would feel the way I did about her generosity in sharing that back. So all of you out there, if you're new to the show or not, you never know, you're going to see basically a neat little family unit here of rock and mineral and gem aficionados that love and have a big passion, not only of the rocks and minerals. Now, remember, Gem Shopping Network, this little show is just a small part of what this network is about, which is, of course, 24/7 of the, what I call the upstairs, even though they're just right behind the wall here, where we go from one set to the other, nonstop of incredibly sourced, well-sourced vendors that want to be here, with everything from estate jewelry to manufacturers that are creating jewelry that is seen only here at Gem Shopping. Now, I'm actually going to read a comment from someone that was watching one of the shows, and I'm going to read in that comment, you have to pretty much know rocks and minerals to even be able to say the type of mineral specimens in the rare gemstone that we're seeing in these other shows. So, you know, whether you can afford some of the pieces or not, it is a marvel to get to see them. Now, most likely in my show, you're going to get to see the rough version of a triplite or of a rare color apatite, that kind of thing. And in the other shows, you're going to see it set magnificently in diamonds and platinum, and see it faceted as well. So, you know, what this gem shopping is all about is some of the finest and rarest gemstones, jewelry, and with this show, the mineral specimens that these items are born from, let's say. So lots of excitement goes on here all the time. And it's a joy to be part of this well-oiled, knowledgeable family in gem shopping itself. It's funny I say that because you know, just the people in this room, between Dave and his over a dozen years on camera here, between my time and Raven, and then sitting right in the other room, listening and monitoring and doing the board, of course, is our director of production, Asif, who's been here over 20 years himself. So there is, that brings you this show here, a huge number of years of experience in very few people. And like I always tell the camera, wonderful camera, I don't know, I want to call them my camera operator friends, that what they get to see in one day is more than someone owning a jewelry store would get to see in months and months and months of pieces coming through different sellers and whatnot. The amount of jewelry, if you started in a 24-hour period and just watched gem shopping, that you would see in the day is a huge, it's more than a museum. It's more turntable after turntable of really cool stuff. So make yourself part of it. And once you're hooked, then you will enjoy all parts of gem shopping. And don't forget, when you go, find me, comment, Shawn at gemshopping.com. And if you want to, you go to the home page, gemshopping.com, look to the bottom where it says Learning Center, click on that. Boom, you're going to see links to not only this show, but the How It's Done series that was produced here at Gem Shopping and directed by Asif, and I hosted and was the one that did the work behind the bench. And it is 30 amazing episodes that, from start to finish, if you watch all 30 episodes, you will be so empowered with the level of knowledge that you have about just how a ring is made, how a diamond is set, in all the other methods of setting, how and why and when prongs should be rebuilt. It goes on and on. Treat yourself. Okay, let's get to, because I can always expound upon the everything gem shopping here has to offer. Alan, my good friend Alan, just spoke to him for a long time the other day on the phone. He is the elderly, not only been a host here for a long time, but also does the Gem U. And he's a gemologist, GIA. And he will also give you information about different gemstones. So anyway, have fun, scroll the website. You never know what you're going to find here at Gem Shopping. Now, what you have come across here is Gem Collectors with Shawn. And not only do you get to learn about what you see, you get to buy it as well. But let me tell you, this and gem shopping in general is not a multi-item network by any means. In other words, one of a kind. When it's sold, most doubtful there'll be a second one like it. Keep that in mind. The gems and minerals, very few items are do I do multiples of, unless they're gem parcels, and then maybe sometimes I have enough to do a few parcels of. We'll see what we come up with today. Today, give you a little hint, everything you're going to see is, I think, never been shown before. And it all fit in a little tiny box. So that should give you some idea whether you're seeing bigger items or littler items. And I'll let your imagination run wild with exactly what it might be. Okay, so we had 2 trivia questions from the end of last week. Let me review the questions and then let's see how we did on the answers. Now, remember, it's always good to write down or make sure you play the question a couple of times, because I have been known to throw in, let's just say, the use of semantics to trick you, and or to see just how well you're paying attention to the question itself. So in this case, question number 1 was, in comparing demantoid specimens. Now remember, demantoid is a type of andradite. Specimens, we saw green crystals and yellowish ones. What actual name is used in the trade for ones with the yellowish to cognac colors? Now, those in general, remember, if it's an andradite, are the ones that tend to have a little bit higher iron content, which will give them that other tint of color. Of course, we know that in demantoid garnet, the greens are more desired, but yet they still call the yellowish colors and even the cognac color ones demantoid, I have seen as well. So I think that's kind of fair, that's okay, as long as they're not represented to be as valuable. But they are given another name, and that is topazolite. Yep, topazolite. So remember that if you didn't know it. Second question. Now, let me read it exactly how I wrote it. How much difference in actual relative hardness is diamond more than corundum? So the point being, how much difference in actual relative hardness is diamond more than corundum? Corundum, of course, is the hardness of 9, being ruby and sapphire on the Mohs scale. So what we were looking for, the Mohs scale is only one number, 1, 2, 3, and each hardness is only separated by an additional number of increase by 1. But in between those stones, the even number 1 does not correlate to the actual hardness difference. So, in other words, fluorite, a hardness of 4, is not twice as hard as gypsum, which is the hardness of 2. There's no correlation in between the numbers other than the one is harder than the previous one. Now, you have to use other scales to be able to actually find out what the real difference in hardness between the different gemstones are. And pretty much if you look and plot the graph for the Mohs scale of hardness of the 10 stones that they use, the hardness kind of goes up fairly evenly until you get to the difference in hardnesses of between corundum and diamond, between number 9 and number 10. And there it shoots up exponentially, because what the question is, how much difference in actual relative hardness. Now, if we take out the word relative, it would read, how much difference in actual hardness is diamond more than corundum? But using the Mohs scale, that can't give you that answer, because everything is only harder by 1 additional number, 9 to a 10. You have to use one of the many other hardness scales to be able to figure out how much harder, or the relative difference in hardness between the 9 and the 10. So if we did it let's use, okay, so most scales go with the Vickers scale. I mean, there is a number of scales. Other ones will use the Knoop, Knoop scale. Now those scales are broken down into smaller numbers and numbers that will give you and then figure out the relative difference. So on the Vickers scale, which actually we're going to address through one of the comments, and then we'll be able to move from there. The answer, though, is diamond is 4 times harder. Now, that's derived from using the Vickers scale, which gives diamond a hardness of around 1600 on that scale, and corundum a hardness of around 400. And that is the hardness assigned to corundum. So when you have a scale that is a much more divided out numerically, you can then extrapolate then a difference that is a multiple, an integer of a multiple harder than the one before it. So in this case, using the Vickers scale, you have a comparison of 400 to 1600. The relative, how much difference in actual relative hardness? The difference in relative hardness is 4 times. Now, if we take the word relative out, how much difference in actual hardness, then it is the number that is assigned for hardness of, well, it's between 15 and 1600, 1600, and subtract the hardness of 400, and that gives you the difference. So in actual hardness, but the relative difference is 4 times harder, which is a lot of people have no idea. And that's why Anthony makes a great comment when we get to that, when it comes to lapidary work. And let me also add this. It was when synthetic diamonds were created to the point where even this little artisanal family could easily afford synthetic diamond compound. And so by using diamond compound instead of silicon carbide, which is only like a hardness a little over corundum, 9.25, 9.5 in that range, that use of diamond being 4 times harder than corundum so sped up the process of whatever lapidary work they were doing that it made it affordable for the little artisanal bead makers. And that's really where and why we saw so many beads come into the market, because from drilling with diamond to polishing with diamond, it so increased the speed of the work that they were doing over silicon carbide that it changed their entire profit structure. And trust me, I've done this before. You can actually start off with a grit of, let's say, think about this in sandpaper terms. You know, if you take a piece of coarse sandpaper and you use it over and over and over again, what happens to the sandpaper? It actually gets finer and finer. You start with 100 grit, and eventually you're going to end up in 220 grit. And eventually, if there's still sandpaper on there, it breaks down the emery or the garnet, whatever it may be on there, and creates a finer and finer sandpaper. Same thing happens with diamond compounds. They recover the diamond. I've done it. I've recovered diamond compounds from my tumblers when I'm using diamond to polish and whatnot, and reuse it, because diamond being the hardest item, nothing is going to break it down into something not usable. In other words, if you take a coarse diamond grit and it gets broken down into a finer grit through tumbling action or however you use it, then you can just use it for a finer grit purpose, which in the lapidary world, there's always another purpose for diamond grit. So it's recoverable, it's recyclable to a point, and a little bit goes a long, long way. All right, let's get to the comments, and then I want to get to the items. So those were the questions. Here we go. Now, a lot of these have to do with where is Shawn? So these were put in before the show came out, and a lot of you were wondering. So we have first Miss Peggy / Margaret. Dear Raven, Shawn, gem people, and the many gem lovers out there, where are you? I felt like you may have overdid it during the holidays since there was no show for 3 weeks. However, I received a package from Gem Shopping today which contained my new trivia prize. Huh? The order date is 1/12/22, but I cannot find the show where it came from. Please help. I have been waiting all week long for you to show up. I need your show. Your fangirl customer, Miss Peggy. Okay, so for one thing, things over the holidays, a lot of the free items got held up as far as shipping. You know they go a different route. So just if you haven't received your free item yet, just wait. It'll be coming. And the other thing was, yes, I did overdo it. And with my dad's birthday, I wanted to make sure that I was healthy to not take him any sicknesses as well that I might bring my 91-year-old dad. Remember, I was born on his birthday, so we share a common birthday. My son even flew in specifically from Washington, D.C. to drive me because he wanted to make sure I was healthy enough and that I could get to my dad's. So it was neat, the 3 generations, and I do apologize for missing the show ahead of time. But I was able to have my health and able to share that time, and I would not trade it for anything. So thank you for sharing that with me as well by basically pretty much allowing me to go without getting too upset. Next, we have Barbara in Brooklyn. Hello, Professor. Well, it's the 4th Monday with no podcast, and I can only assume the worst. Aw. The new sets at GSN are lovely, but they surely can't be taking this long to build and troubleshoot. Wish GSN could shoot out an email that all was well, but your show wouldn't drop on Monday or Tuesday or whatever, so we don't worry. They do. Okay, I'll leave that out. It was a comment about handbags, but we'll leave that out. Okay, so hope you and the family are okay, and Winter Storm Izzy didn't disrupt your lives too much. No, it was a big to-do about nothing. Most disappointing. I wanted lots of snow. New York City just got rain. Watched all the Chromia shows this weekend with Amit and drooled over the unique gemstones he brought. Okay, here is what one of the other vendors bought. And I tell you what, if it weren't for someone like me, it would be difficult to actually read these. And actually, Miss Barbara in Brooklyn, luckily I knew that her spelling, if I read it the way exactly she spelled them, it would sound different than the way they're supposed to be sounding. But that's okay. I do the gemstones that you meant. So anyway, in one of the other shows, listen to this. Some amazing rare stones were brought in and mounted. So one of them, of course, let's see. Okay, so one of them was pozzotaite. Now, if you've heard of that, then good, because it's a cesium barrel that is got an incredible pinkish raspberry color tone, and it is trivalent manganese that gives it its color. In other words, manganese with 3+ in, okay, forget that. That's another lesson for another day. From Afghanistan, and it was recognized by a different mineral. It is just a beautiful material. Now, trivalent manganese also, just to make you more familiar with why you might have heard of it before, is because Bixbyte, red beryl, is colored by that as well. And also morganite, the pink beryl, has that as part of its coloring agent also. So also, check this out, which is really amazing. Poudretite. Now, poudretite is named after a family name for the Poudret quarry. And that was Quebec, Canada, was one of, and Mount St. Hilaire was its first discovery point in the 1960s. Since then, it has been also found in Burma. Some people pronounce it Poudretite. So you're going to hear some of these unusual minerals that are named after families, like the pozzotiite was named after a person. Difficult to pronounce, and a lot of people, even if you go to the internet for the pronunciation, you'll hear multiple different pronunciations of it, and these are supposed to be like the correct pronunciation. So just like another stone that he had was Jeremagevite. Now I've heard it Jeremagevite, Jeremagevite, many different ways for that one. But that is a rare aluminum boron with fluorine that has been found in Namibia. And I've had it before. I've actually sold it in the show before. So really cool stuff. Trapeche tourmaline also. Can you imagine? You know what trapeche emeralds are, right? So those as well. Conch pearls. So really neat, unusual things that you will not see anywhere else in any other show, in any other gem and jewelry network, because none of them deal with that high-end type of not only value, but rarity also. Only here at Gem Shopping will you find those kind of items. And then you get to learn about them as well, because I love talking about them. The Jeremagevite, named after, you may get and have thought of this totally wrong, but Vladimirovich, originally discovered in Russia. And that is one of the areas it's found, also Namibia and Burma. So cool stuff. It's kind of a lavender, purple type color. So watch the shows. Cat's Eye Demantoid Garnet. I would have liked to have seen one of those myself. Wow. Anyway, had to hit the internet for a few of these, which are new or rare enough not to be in my normal reference books like Walter Schumann's. Got to keep filling this old brain. I am going to show you a treat later in the show. And I brought it back from my dad's. He wanted to make sure I had it. Remember, my dad's a scientific Russian translator and only retired at 88 as recognized as the world's leading scientific Russian translator, left over from the Cold War and military intelligence days. And he raised 6 children that way, translating the unclassified scientific journals. So he had to have all these books where he could find translations of these unusual things that he would have to translate. And he translated anything, as long as it was scientific. So wait till you see this book I'm going to show you. You want to know how I can find some unusual off-the-wall minerals and whatnot? Yeah, this book will tell you why. And thanks to my dad. So anyway, hope you get back to providing weekly stimulation soon, says Miss Barbara in Brooklyn. Thank you very much for your kind comments. And I'm sorry that you missed me to that extent. By the way, I see my notes. Pedretiite is a potassium sodium borate silica. So kind of unusual combinations there. Miss Peggy, or Karen in South Carolina, it is so good to see you back. Happy belated birthday. So glad you were able to spend time with family. Trivia, getting the answer right on that one, which is topazolite and 4 times harder. I would really like a piece of Elmwood mine fluorite. Do you have any more? I picked up a specimen of the Ohio fluorite shown by you at your last show. Lucky you. I can hardly wait for it to get to me. Speaking of bad weather, here in South Carolina, we got several inches of snow. Being born and raised in Pennsylvania, snow is not an issue for me. Several inches of snow in South Carolina, however, is a huge issue. Oh yeah, huge issue. We clear out the grocery shelves when we get 2-3 inches. Oh yeah, all excited about it. I gotta admit, I'm one of those as well. Cameraman Dave is one of those. We look forward to it so much, I think we create this black hole around us where it just doesn't happen. Miss Barbara again says, hello, Professor Raven, GSN crew, and the whole Rock family. You're back. You were sick. You didn't fall off old 2 buckets or sail off the edge of the Discworld. What a relief. So glad you had quality family time. This was really a special holiday, birthday and New Year for your whole clan. And a pocket full of lolly from the jewelry sales to celebrate with. Your belief that the universe eventually balances things out for the good seems to be working. Another brace of delightful specimens out of your cabinets this week. Tried for the iridescent Ohio fluorite, but missed. Yeah, we know who got one of them, don't we? Did get the grand sugarlite, though. Don't forget to pronounce it the right way. That was a great piece. Very showy with interesting accessory minerals that will display nicely. Cut a slice off the end? Indeed not. I know, I just did that for reaction. But as a lapidary, it's like, well, I could shave a little off the bottom. No one would really know. And then I'd give it another piece to work with. But it does look really neat, polished all the way around. That's really rare and unusual. Now, that's why it was a personal piece of mine in my collection. As to the trivia, topazolite is the yellowish friend of green demantoid. I have several of your Tobuscus Farm thumbnails of that pairing to remind me. I know, I love it when they're in the same specimen. You get to see the two colors side by side. The most scale increments go along sort of arithmetic to suddenly, exponentially between number 9 and 10. Baby step, normal step, giant step. Yep, that's about the way the graph looks. 4 times between sapphire and diamond. The only thing between the two is silicon carbide, SiC, or moissanite at around 9 1/4. Just a caution about hardness when you store parcels of stones. The only thing harder than diamond, boron nitride. Yeah, boron nitride. But it's a synthetically created item, so I don't really count that. As you said, like hardness will scratch like hardness. So storing a parcel of cut stones of the same kind in plastic bags or even gem papers mean they will rub and abrade each other, marring the finish, especially the facet junctions, making them look worn and junky. Protect their pristine finish by storing them individually, or at least don't rub them around in their bags, even though that feels so good. I know what you mean. Yes, it's called parcel wear. And I have seen one dealer simply literally lose, I don't know how many tens and tens of thousands of dollars in value off his gemstones because he kept just toting them around in big plastic bags, and here, there, over decades, he didn't do anything with them. But that's the way that they were kind of moved and transported. And it took decades of this because he didn't regularly work with them. But in time, and it doesn't take but decades at that rate. And what you end up doing is exactly as Barbara said, abrading all the facet meats. How do you fix that? Costs a fortune. Every single stone has to be repolished. And unless the stone is valuable enough, you have basically worthless inventory. In other words, if you have stones that were like an almandine garnet, that really what it's going to cost you to repolish them is about what the garnet would cost you if you bought it brand new. That's backing up. And parcel wear is something I have seen many dealers just really not give enough thought to. Now, if you want to keep them in the baggie that they're in, the best way to do it is you just roll those little plastic baggies up like, here, I'll say like this, and you just roll them up like this, okay? If they're full, and you roll them tight, okay, you roll them tight, and then you just tape them. If you expect to put them up and not get in or out of them. And as long as they're tight and you limit the movement to them, then you're going to cut down drastically on that parcel wear. And yeah, like harnesses will scratch. Again, it's definitely something. And they'll chip too. If you have emeralds like that together, oh, yeah, I knew an emerald dealer had some of the finest, most amazing emeralds, and he was such a stickler about the way you handled his emeralds. Rightfully so. He would only have enough that would be in a straight row across the bottom of the bag, and so that they didn't double up on each other, and he'd do exactly what I was saying to you, and you had to unroll them that way, line them back up, roll it back, and I don't blame him because again, once you have that expense of recutting them, you start backing up financially. So always a good point to make there, Miss Barbara, indeed. By the way, what were the right answers to the 1221 trivia? We haven't seen you since then. I didn't do a trivia as best as I can remember. My last show, I knew I'd be skipping the show afterwards, and I thought that was going to be too much time in between. So that's why we didn't have any trivia answers last week, because we didn't have any trivia questions the week before. Winter Storm Izzy nailed a lot of people across the country with snow and ice, but here in NYC, we got only rain. Next shot at snow is this Saturday. Had 10 degrees 4 times this month, so we are paying for that warm December. Universe balancing things out again, I guess. So hope you're all snug and warm. Be safe. Wear your K95s and pray for an early spring. Barbara from Brooklyn. I don't know. So hot down here in the South. Next thing after spring is the Georgia summer. We can put that off a little longer. Miss Ursula says, Shawn, hello. I'm glad to see you are back in rare form to give us another opportunity to shop from your vast collection. To be honest with you, my answer to your trivia questions might be suspect since I did manage to snag those 3 Congo diamond crystals. Good for you. Diamonds are 4 times harder than corundum, and I sure hope that my granddaughters will not smash them into lead plates. Topazolite came into mind as soon as you talked about the yellowish cognac colored demantoid garnet. I do have to agree with you that Uvarovite garnet form in the most stunning deep green crystals. Had the chance to purchase a specimen from you many months ago. Yes, I do have those from time to time. I'm glad to see you have one, and of course the only person I know with a large single crystal Uvarovite specimen from Outokumpu, Finland, the most desirable location for Uvarovite to be from. Yeah, you're the Raven. Yeah, she got it. I think she pushed me down, stepped on my head, trying to get to the old guy who only had about 50 specimens out there. I just know that that's what she did. I think she spotted it from 50 feet away. Totally, it's my birthstone, right? Now she's hidden it from me. She's hidden it. But maybe we'll get her to under lock and key, and a security guard let me borrow it to show all of you what a museum quality dodecahedron in matrix. And I'm talking about a Uvarovite that's, 6 millimeters across. That's big. Not a Jersey. Anyway, don't want to talk about it. It should have been mine. Miss Gabby says, greetings to all. Hope everyone's holiday was great. Sounds like our professor's was, and I couldn't be happier for you, sir. Were you missed? I'll answer that this way. If a show hadn't posted this week, John and I were going to send out a search party for you and the Raven. And that is not much of an exaggeration, let me tell you. Trivia answers are topazolite and 4 times harder. Glad you got the specimen pictures. Hope Summer is looking forward to this project as much as I am. Love to all. Miss Gabby, yes, I did. I got all the pictures figured out to forward them to her. And indeed. So I'm glad she needed something to do. Let's see. Miss Cindy in Pennsylvania says, hello, Rock family. And this is in really big letters. So happy to see you back, Shawn. Glad you were able to find your peace with son and father. Memories made. Indeed. I found my peace also by retiring on 12/31/21. No more crazy hours, soul-crushing administrators, or total physical and mental exhaustion. I am happy as I have spent 2 years to get here. Goal met. It's great when you achieve a goal, isn't it? And then it's even better when you can bail out afterwards. Beautiful specimens. Great education segment on garnets. I watched some YouTube videos of the mining in tidal regions of Madagascar. It was an opener on how difficult it is. That's what everybody needs to do. You need to just internet search Madagascar garnets, tidal swamp, whatever. Just put the word tidal in there and it'll pull it up of how they have to mine, and they dig out their little individual artisanal holes every time the tide comes in and out. And they only have a few hours to work with in between the water surging back in. And that is how and where these garnets were discovered and mined. But it all has to do with a subsiding tectonic plate. That's for another day. But also the minerals present and why garnets form there. Absolutely geologically interesting to someone like me. Let's see. So trivia. Topazolite. 4 times the hardness. I'm looking forward to next week's show already. Can you show us Gabby's Christmas tree picture? Never got to it back on 12/21 show. Thanks. Bye, you all. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania, who did not have to drive 20 plus miles to work in snow and ice storm this week. Rock on, Miss Cindy. You enjoy every moment of it. Being a healthcare worker, we thank you for all your devotion and time these last couple of years, and I hope you feel rewarded for it. And in the meantime, I hope you enjoy this time that is so well deserved for you now. Yeah, if I have time, I certainly will. And if I remember, I'll show you that picture again. Let's see. Mr. Anthony says, hello all. I was jonesing, man. I needed a Shawn fix. Happy birthday, young man. You pulled out the big guns. I wanted everything. I scored the Boulder Opal Rough, one of my favorite types of opal. You know I'll be slicing into that bad boy. Speaking of opal, Miss Gabby, wow. I know. Miss Gabby would be having opal. How can, there's nothing beyond that. Talk about gem envy. But I tell you what, that Boulder Opal, so tempted to do what you're doing and cutting into it. Trivia. Topazolite, I believe, is the name given the yellowish to brownish cognac color of andradite. Diamonds are 4 times harder than corundum. That was very informative about the diamonds. Such a time saver once you get used to polishing with diamond compounds. Absolutely. They say, diamonds are very, not to use on the softer material. No, I figured out how to use diamond to polish every hardness of material. But I will, if there was ever anything that you could switch out and polish with a, cerium oxide or something, it would be the softer material. I do get good results, but to polish anything quartz or any hardness of 6s, 7s, 8s, yeah, the only thing to use is diamond, and especially in faceting as well. The other thing is corundum. How in the world? I told you my story about how I got a tumble finish on ruby from a tumbler, which had to be done with diamond. And but that was a whole process, and I was never able to repeat it and get more of the diamond compound. But anyway, I'm going to look back into that. And that's where I reused the diamond, was for polishing. And why not? The diamond is just going to, and the sludge from the corundum can just be used, in other words, settled out, just like you're panning out the off the lighter material, and just use that leftover, which has the diamonds and also has the hardness of 9, to use it to polish other materials, other 7s and 8s, and even more corundum. Miss Peggy from South Carolina. Miss Margaret Peggy from South Carolina. Wow, I have missed you. Dear Raven, Shawn, Gem Crew, and my favorite rock hounds. I was so happy to see you again. I was so worried you were sick again. I kept looking on YouTube to find your current show, checking the Gem Shopping website info regarding your show, sending emails to find you for... sorry for the stalking. I'm so happy you had a wonderful holiday and birthday with your son and dad. Please wish him well from our family. This week's show was amazing. As always, Raven's glittery nails were as pretty as any of the minerals you showed. I plan to copy her the next time I get a manicure. Raven, you are so cool. Yeah, she gets that all the time, because you should see what she wears. It is classic, really cool hippie. Except, not the tie-dye hippie, modernish hippie with a little of the best thing I can say is anyone who followed the Grateful Dead around had a certain type of attire. So you throw that into a little bit more of the modern type hippie, and that's the kind of blend that you get. And her jewelry is nothing like you've ever seen, and there is a considerable amount of it. Just amazing stuff. Amazing stuff set in silver. Amazing stuff like you've seen, like I said, she'll wear the $50,000 star sapphire next to the $25 silver ring. Okay, so we are just about done here. Thank you so much for coming back, and that you are healthy. You are really needed in my life. I'm sure all of us feel the same way. Please do the sale show. I am saving my pennies for new pieces. Oh, that's so cool. Peggy, that's so cool. Thank you. Let's see. Trivia. Yellow demantoid is known as grossular garnet. Not exactly what we're looking for, but the difference between diamond and corundum is 4 times harder. Find your joy. Go to the doctor. I will, Miss Peggy. I'm planning on it. So the yellow demantoid is a type of grossular garnet. No, it's actually a separate garnet family. It belongs to the andradite garnet family. I'm getting myself confused. The word that they use in the gem industry for the yellowish to cognac color demantoid is topazolite. Nevertheless, that was a great answer. Okay, so also, let's see. In regards to your last question that you had, what you received is Merry Christmas. And I'm glad you liked it. Miss Elisa says, hello, Rock family, GSN crew, the lovely Raven, and Professor Shawn. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed some rest and relaxation, plus some family time. Shawn, I'm so glad you got to spend that time with your son and time with your dad for both your birthdays. My answer for this week's question are, 1, topazolite, correct? 2, okay, so here we go. She has the answer as 1100. Now, the diamond, she's using the Vickers scale. A diamond hardness on the Vickers scale is rated at 1500, and corundum on the Vickers scale is 400. Now, you can see where the multiple then, 400 times 4 is 1600. So it's just a little less than 4 times. And that is where you get the relative difference. So because I included her in the answering the contest correctly, because she actually gave both numbers, which gives you the relative hardness because of the difference on the Vickers scale. So, and that, if anybody else wants to see the relative difference in hardness, look up the different gemstones on the Vickers scales, and it will give you the differences in numbers, and then you can figure out the relative difference. I won't hold you to the semantics though on actual hardness versus the relative hardness. As long as you include the 2 numbers, it gave us the relative hardness difference, which is 4, and actually a little bit more accurate as well. Thank you for another great show, everyone. Well worth the wait. Take care, everyone, and I'm looking forward to next week's show. All right, so we have Vickers, Rockwell, Burnell, Knoop, all those different scales that you actually have to look at, just like you have Fujita scales and other scales that are more accurate than the common ones they use in weather and terminology. So well done. All right, so lots of people getting the answers right this week and put all the right answers in a hat, drew the hat, the number out of the hat, so to speak. And this week, the answer and the winner is Miss Elisa. Miss Elisa, you every week, I think, participate, and I'm glad to see it. And I still know that I believe you're the one also, because I got out the axonite and started working on it a little bit. So I think you were the one looking for that. Let me know if you weren't. That'll be done at some point. All right, let's show you what you won. I think you're going to like it, because guess what? This is an amazing collection of, look at that. Free. Who gives away, except Crazy Shawn, free Tanzanian no heat zircons? Look at these. Look at those stones. Those 3 of them, large size. Now, I have no doubt that these won't create, and I'm really not too sure with, maybe my mental health was a little bit off. Why I would give away 3 incredible stones. 1 would be amazingly enough, wouldn't it? Okay, let me tuck those away, and then we'll be right back with the show. Needless to say, this is something you have not seen, and of course, it is from our private collection, a magnificent fossil, and if it came from our collection, you know it has everything good going on with it. This is a case where red is not desirable. Red is wonderful and great in the world of opal, But in the world of ammonite slash ammolite, the gemstone, reds and oranges are the most common colors. And I'm going to show you and explain why and what this is about. This, of course, is a piece of an ammonite. Ammonite being the circular fossil named after the Egyptian god Ammon. You have seen the curled horns of that form before. And of course, the curl to an ammonite is exactly perfectly fitting for why the fossil, the animal was named that. Now, it's part of the cephalopod family, and ammonites have gone extinct. Their relatives now, though, are the nautilus and squid and other cephalopods. Let me show you what makes this piece so valuable and rare compared to other pieces of ammolite. So it's ammolite for the gemstone. It was officially made a gemstone a few decades back. It is the gem quality material is only really found at one place in the world, and that's in the Canadian Rockies in a certain geological fossil formation. And what happens is this material is buried underneath anywhere from 30 feet of overburden, can be up to, I think, 70 feet. It varies. Okay, so picture the overburden, the weight of the ground pressing on the fossil shell, right? And over geologic time, pressing down on the outer part of the shell. Well, if the shell, which is basically pretty much the same thing like our fingernail, calcium carbonate type of material to start with, the fossilization process converts that to aragonite. And aragonite in its molecular formation forms in layers, and it is those layers of aragonite that the light will enter and is diffracted and split, therefore reflecting back out as various colors. Now, let me show you just what we're talking about for the thickness. Now, what's so great about this piece is the fact that this is original outer portion of the fossil itself. It has not been covered in a triplet. It has only been, and you can see this shiny portion, a special kind of like epoxy resin. I don't really want to say resin, more of a type of epoxy that they put on it to not only, the shell's very shiny in itself, but what that does is it keeps it from further flaking off. So let's show you from the side what I'm referring to, because this is where I make my point as far as the thickness. Okay, let's look at an area of brightness. All right, here's bright green. Let me show you the only thing that is creating that green is a ultra thin layer of the shell there itself that is on the surface. Let's look at the blue. If you look at the blue, the little layer is even thinner, much thinner. You can see how this, well, I'll call it matrix for not a better word, how it comes up right to the edge. All right. Here is what happens. The orange and yellow colors that are refracted back are created when the thickness of the shell, or, I say shell, but it's now the mineral aragonite, is thicker. So the orange and yellow colors are the colors that are reflected back when this material is not flaked off enough and left in place where it is thick enough. It is the thick layers that give you the orange and red colors. And this is why they're more common. Because they are thicker, they were able to survive the pressures and the weight of the ground above them. And thus, they survived the fossilization process more commonly. The rarity comes in the blue and the purple colors and the greener colors, because those are the colors that are reflected back when this material, the shell material, is really thin. That's how you get the blue colors and the purple colors. Now, think about it. If it's really thin and giving you those colors and you have all that weight pressing down on it, it is that thin, the fact that it is thin is going to create a situation that allows much less material to survive the fossilization process to the end until, man could dig it up. So it is because those colors are only present in the thinner material. And it is because it is so thin is why it ends up being destroyed or cracked in so many different kind of ways that it ends up flaking off, because it doesn't have the strength to be able to hold up under the weight and the pressure above it. And that is the simple explanation for value in the different colors and why you see yellows and oranges more often than the blues and purples. And it all has to do with the thickness of the material. Because obviously the thicker it is, the better it's going to hold up under that weight and pressure. And then the more often and more common you're going to see those colors, because they have survived that weight and pressure. The thin layers that create the blues, purples, there's not so much of those around in the specimens because they end up being destroyed because they are so thin and aren't able to take that weight and pressure. Now, let's look at this piece. This piece is really amazing because it has actually on the entire face pretty much color in every area. You look in this area, you think maybe there's not so much, but when you turn it from different angles, you're going to see that almost every portion of the entire face of this piece has color in one form or another. This area of blue, wow. I mean, of course you wouldn't want to, but if this was a single cabochon right here, which you could cut from this piece, the amount of value this one piece would bring would far exceed what I'm asking for the whole piece. $288. $288. Think about this. Well, I think about it from a cutter's point of view. You can see how thick this is to work with, by the way, because if you wanted, wow, wouldn't that be a stunning, look at that, a stunning stone on its own, easily bringing that amount of money and more because of the blue. And then look at this. Look what you'd have over here. And here is the key and why it was part of our collection is because it doesn't have a cap. No quartz covering. This is completely natural surface except for what, and you know what? They put this type of epoxy type of reinforcement on all of them, If they don't have a quartz cap, they have that this finish on them, or worse, they have, you know what I found in one piece? It actually prevented the dealer from reselling it, because I discovered when I looked at it, and I said, I won't say his name, but I said, you know what you're buying has aluminum foil. He said, what are you talking about? I said, look really closely. And sure enough, he called out this well-known dealer as to what they were doing. And they were actually creating and painting aluminum. You see how that reflection picture? Aluminum foil with a transparent paint, how you could get that reflection from it. They could anchor down the layers of aluminum foil onto a background like this, okay? Let's say no color, it had no color, but it was actually this material. And epoxy it down, let it dry, and so you have an uneven, crinkly surface, right? Then you go back in and you do this, because time is cheap when they try to create or ripping off the public. And they went back in and they'd paint these colors on it. It made an amazingly effective look, but only the sharp eye of someone that looks at everything with a distrustful eye. Ever since those lead galena geodes in Morocco, you heard that story of mine. So anyway, discovered, and sure enough, that's one of the ways they do it. So I say this because the internet is full of people that just want to deceive and take your money and do it in unimaginably creative ways. That occurs. Look at how big that specimen is. That is a monster specimen. That displays, well, I got to keep my stand, but you need a better stand than that anyway. It displays phenomenally in so many different ways, and also with very little light. I mean, this isn't like an opal that you need sunlight. This is something that just has an incredible display of color, pretty much on its own. $288. That's a treasure, and in anybody's book and in any world, that material, you know what? As each year goes by, it gets harder and harder to find. Miss Gabby knows it well. She is quite familiar with that material, and I'm sure she's looking at that piece thinking, "Wow, that's an amazing value." With that much blue and knowing what it could be cut into. And again, the key being, it is a completely natural face of the fossil itself. It's not one of these rebuilt pieces. Anyway, they do so much other things to them. Yep, that's a great item. Now, let me show you. Yeah, we have lots more goodies to come. Lots more goodies to come. Let's see. How about, oh yeah, we'll just do something simple right now. Item 104, if I can read it, 10, my, Shawn. 1046522. It was the printer. Printed it out a little blurry, that was it. I have, look at this. I'm not going to take these out of the bag because no point in doing it. Look at this. 50 carats of mixed tourmalines. Oh, maybe. Do we have a little tray? One of those little trays? Let me show you this, because these, okay, all the same. And could I have, I have, you know what? I had gotten these for projects. And I realize now that, here, I just randomly grab one of these and dump it out. Because let me show you. These are amazing because of the number of longer crystals. And what I mean by that is, look at these. I mean, there's an indicolite blue. Look at this one. And this was just a random batch. Look at that bicolor blue cap to that. Great photo work there, Dave. Look at that beautiful green facet grade with a little even greener cap to it. These stones, wow. Yeah, Mr. Anthony, that one would teach you to how to cut small tourmalines with lots of facets, make it look really, really bright. You can do it. When you get looking at these, oh my word, look at this. You can tell I did not high grade these or go through them. Look at that specimen. That is just cool as can be. Look at that indicolite cap on that and other colors to that. Wow. I was going to use some of these for my Zen gardens and actually separate the colors and then crush them up, which that's fine if you want to do some that aren't crystalline like that piece. But other than that, definitely go through these, because those ones that are well-formed crystals, I would not do that to them. Indeed. So anyway, here is just one of the samples, 50 carats each. Wow. All of them randomly picked, so they should all have a good selection. And what a great opportunity for certain. All right, price on these, you're not gonna believe. I'm not gonna believe how inexpensive I'm gonna make these. I was first looking at the price on there. It's like, wow, that probably should be the price on there, which I have on there. Look, I'm not kidding. It's like, believe me, it's not the price, but look at it. Something was telling me $198 each. It was Latif. Latif must have priced that one. But no, here we go. We have 50 carats. We're going to make these, believe it or not, only, I'm not going to believe it. Latif is going to be mad. Okay, awesome. Okay, $18 a parcel. $18 each. $18 each. That's a great value. Oh, great value, especially for all those cool crystals. Okay, now, let me show you the next item. 1046722. Yep, there's 4 choices there. Now, try to, don't scoop them all up, everybody. Let 4 different people get in on them. But after a day or two, if there's still any left, then go ahead and you can get whatever's still available on those. But try to, I don't want to like put a limit of 1 or anything like that. I think you guys can figure it out. But if you'll do just one to a client first, that'd be great. Okay, item 1046722. Let me show you something you have not seen before. Look at this. Look at this cabochon. And what a treat this is. I have never actually even had any rough that I could cut this from. Wow. Look at that. That is watermelon tourmaline. It actually is watermelon because it has that little bit of white, rind. So you have the green outside of the watermelon, a little bit of white rind, and then the pink on the inside, just as a watermelon in real life looks like. You have the little yucky white part that doesn't have any flavor. Then you get to the good pink from the outside green. Now, that actually looks like a piece of bacon. So bacon and watermelon you have. But it's interesting because I look at this geologically. What has happened here? You have these 2 that actually, it looks like there was a cataclysm in the pocket, because look at the shift. Look at the shift in both of those, like a split in the crystal. And then like in so many cases, it heals itself. They tend to fill back in and as you can see, fill back in, and that's called a healed fracture or a healed place, and it happens in rubies and sapphires as well. All right, neat, unusual specimen that'll come in the suspension box as well. And price on this guy, kind of one of a kind deal, $88 on that one. Only $88 on that one. Okay, let me tuck him away for a moment and I'll be right back. I have a treat right here. Only have one. I'm going to give you the price right now. So if you want to run off and grab this opportunity, do it. It's $328. And I say that because there's not going to be another one. $328. It is Colombian emeralds, and you're gonna easily be able to see that. 22 carats of goods. So guess what? That's less than $15 a carat. Let's go in and show you exactly how sweet this is. Look at these. Now, there's a slight graduation in size from 2 millimeter at the end. Look at that. To 3 millimeter towards the middle. And boy, you can tell classic Colombian color. And here's the neat thing. I was looking at this closer. Yeah, Dave, you can go in. Maybe we could even see it because they reflect. I found a couple little pyrite crystals. Pyrite crystals in the emeralds, one of the indicators of Colombian goods. And just really, really neat. It was a perfect square little crystal. But you can see how clean this is. This doesn't have the carbon inclusions like so many of the other commercial necklaces do. Let me show you towards the back. Look at this, 14 karat gold catch. So look at how big they start off. They're all faceted. Here is what I was thinking. Imagine this. Imagine this. How do you drill them? These are all drilled. Now, I know I've used all the drilling equipment from manual drilling to ultrasonic drilling, which of course is the way to go on something like this. And yeah, look at that. Boy, if you ever want to be able to tell if you got a Burma ruby or not, put it next to Colombian emeralds. And if you get that incredible color contrast, yeah, it confirms both of them are what they are. Now, and no, it's not for sale, even though I did make the ring. It's facet grade quality, maybe one day. All right, now, I just answered all your questions out there. Get your mind back on the emerald necklace. 14 karat gold catch, faceted. Imagine how many emeralds broke in drilling it. It doesn't matter how fine of a quality drill you have, these stones, and pretty much any stone, including diamond, because of its the perfect cleavage in diamond, are going to split. There's going to be a percentage of them that will split. If you were drilling corundum, ruby, and sapphire, the percentage of them that would split would be a fraction compared to emerald. Quartz, it wouldn't be so bad, but you'd still get a pretty decent split rate. Ruby and sapphire would be the ones due to their, let's just say, toughness, to how durable they are. But emerald, drilling an emerald, let's go in and show you. This is on, by the way, this is on a very, very special metal wire. And I actually don't know if I can pull this far apart to show you. Let me show you. And there's a reason why I want to do this. For one, to show you there's hardly any gaps. It's green. That wire in between, isn't that cool, is green. So there's not going to be anything that stands out. It's also not going to stretch. And no knotting required. Oh, here, look at the ends. These are crimped off. And I know how this is done. Of course, in case you didn't know, the Raven is a master pearl stringer. She has done my pearl stringing for many years. She did them a long way before that. And she is such a perfectionist. It drives me crazy when she does it. She'll be almost through and she won't like a knot and that she did. And she'll cut the whole thing back apart until she drove me crazy. I showed her some tricks. She certainly was better at some of the things, but I showed her some tricks on how to do pearl repairs, basically, like how to add in a length of necklace without restringing the whole thing, and all kinds of other tricks that a lot of people don't know. But yeah, a lot of people don't realize that I first started stringing pearls for extra money when I was 20 years old and by myself in an apartment. watching TV, didn't have much more than a couch and a table, but I'd sit there and I would string like nobody's business. And this is what, 120 years old, born in like around 1981. And I remember stringing, making $20 to $25 an hour. That was big bucks then, to be able to string and make that. And actually then enjoyed it. But it was when I really started doing a lot more bench work. I could not keep my hands clean enough to be able to work with the perfectly white cord. So I taught a bunch of other people and have throughout my decades how to string it the way I like to string the thing strung, and then let them do the stringing Shawn's way. So anyway, this piece, isn't that cool? Isn't that beautiful? And because of the strength of it, you know, it would be up to you if you wore anything on it. But if you did, you could get away with it if there was a little gap that you could actually drop something in between the two of the emeralds. Or there is other ways, you know, that you could create a bail securely or safely, just like, you know, that's just it. I was just thinking of all the things I think of that I do and that I can fix, but I think of going to your local goldsmith, whether they can. You know what I was thinking? I have done it so many times. I do hidden corking. In other words, create a bail, put cork in it, drill the cork just like you do for a slide bracelet. No one ever sees the cork, and the cork, of course, protects and locks in the emerald where it doesn't damage the emeralds. This is the kind of creativity that teaching goldsmithing should include, but it doesn't. But of course, I haven't taught all my tricks over the years. And that's just it. There's a lot of methods and a lot of things that can be done that aren't. It's just thinking outside of the box and being creative, which is one of the things I really enjoyed as over the years, was creating things that no one else has. And by the way, if you go to the How It's Done series, you get to see an opal pendant created by hand where one of the opals spins. That kind of stuff. Cool stuff. Stuff that doesn't happen in other jewelry. Item number 934720. 934720. And this is something very cool. Look at this now. Wow. Isn't that really cool? The neck, please. This is Anna King. Now, if you remember Anna King, she, over the years, has been, and always has been, our silver designer, that the only one that Raven and I really liked, because she thought out of the box. Her stuff was all original, very inexpensive, and she had fantastic lapidaries as well that she would use. This piece, and loved horses, you can see with the two horses. Now here in this part of Georgia, we are, of course, big equestrian center. The Olympics were where they held the equestrian part of the Olympics. From where I live is only maybe about 15 miles away. So all the areas around here, you see always a lot of barns, a lot of people, a lot of places to take equestrian lessons. It's really big, as it is in a lot of other places across the country. Now, that's the other thing about equestrian sports. People may love them, but only a certain, well, not everybody can afford the sport. Because, or the hobby, I should say, horses, hay, and whatnot. If you have the land, you can put the horse out to feed it. You know, that's the picturesque scene that I see, and I think, wow, you know, I'd love to have the land. Not so much about the horse. I still have to get on a horse, even though I think one of my past lives I was a Western miner. But I don't think I could have gotten by without learning how to ride a horse. So I'm not sure about that one. But this piece, really neat. It's the mare and the colt, if that's what they call it. And it is what I really love is the stone, tiger iron. This tells you a whole story. I like the name tiger iron because it transfers information. It is a combination of tiger eye and iron stone. Now, as we look at this, you're familiar with ironstone because of boulder opal. Boulder opal forms in an ironstone type of matrix. Now, this is a very prominent in its display of not only the beautiful tiger eye, but the iron part of the ironstone. Because what you're seeing in this dark black line, look at how the wonderful tiger eye comes through there. And look at here, the clear silica part is hematite. Is basically, look at that reflection. Iron ore, hematite, as you know. So that's where they get ironstone. Now, sometimes you'll get red that blends in with these as well. And what that will be is a red jasper. In this case, you have just a neat silica up there, which is quite unusual to see that. Here's the Anna King logo. You can see the crown for, of course, her logo for Anna King. This is a really neat, unusual bale. And I added a leather cord to it, a leather cord as just part of it. It has a silver catch as well. So this you will receive ready to go. Oh, here's the neat thing, because a lot of these lost along the way. This is a nice older piece. Anna King, her label on that one still as well. And again, really nice, high quality. So if you know somebody and want to give this as a gift that love the equestrian sports, boy, you wouldn't be able to find anything more cool. And if they love horses and rocks and minerals, or you do yourself, then this is a great combination of both. Price on this is actually less than it would be for me to replace it right now, with the cost of materials having gone way up and so many other reasons when you're dealing with overseas manufacture and whatnot. Price on this, only $98. Only $98 on that. That's an excellent value on that one. Now, I have another really fun piece here. This is item 1045322. 1045322. And I guess I haven't shown anything like this in a long time. Look at this. This is the real deal as far as, well, all kinds of things. For one thing, I like the design. All right, so forget what it's holding right now. You see the direction of the veil, and you see, let's see, the way the wings are. This allows it to be worn right against the chest like that. So it's a very clever design. Now, this is, let me talk to you a little bit in case you're not familiar with the Civil War history. And of course, being here in Georgia, it's pretty much really difficult to go anywhere without being near a battlefield or actually having, there's all kinds of Civil War battlefields. There's all kinds of Civil War national cemeteries. And, you know, the war was devastating to both sides. What I know about this particular Civil War bullet, it was found in the states of the North. And it was, of course, legally discovered because you can't use metal detectors on any federal property. Oh my goodness, if you did that and you were caught, they will confiscate your metal detector, your vehicle, you will go to jail. You will not pass go, you will be in so much trouble. I would never even consider it, but there's other idiots that try to do it. Now, if you get permission, you can metal detect around the Civil War national monuments and battlefields, but pretty much people that are around them are so tired of people asking them for permission to dig their yard up that that's usually not a good thing to even try. So there's more remote places where these things are recovered. Now, this one, where it was found, it would have been shot. Now, let me show you what to look for to know that to know a bullet has been found in the ground and not just an extra one that had never been fired. This, first they have the what was known and called the mini ball. It's Mini ball. It's by a French designer, and that's the conical shaped one that has the inverted open back end of the bullet. In other words, it wasn't round, it was conical shaped. And what that allowed, when it was fired, it expanded the back end of the bullet, which engaged the rifling, giving it a spin and greatly increased the distance and accuracy of the gun. But before that was available, and when that bullet was not being used, this is the one that was shot from, like the Kentucky rifles. It's a what's known as a 50 caliber. In other words, a half inch across. And let's go in close, because what you're looking at on the surface, when you see the white areas and the darker brownish areas, that is lead oxide. You can see a little bit of the lead coming through here. But when you see the white, what that is a chemical reaction. Basically, they call it white rust amongst the metal detectors, or lead rust. And that is technically what it is, because rust is iron oxide. This is lead oxide on there, telling you that it has been exposed to the elements in the ground for quite some time. And so she obtains these, and I have Civil War buttons. I've offered those before from coats that were never made, but the buttons were. Coats that were never assembled. But she was able to get a hold of the buttons and some other neat, interesting things. So this, as a cool pendant, sterling silver, fantastic detail, and I don't know, you can just kind of feel some of the history right in the piece. And if that could talk, the story it could tell. The entire thing with all that silver, a lot of weight. You're gonna love it, because I have discounted this and decided to offer it. It was just in my collection, and I wasn't really wearing it, and just had so many other things, as you know. So this one, $77, only $77 on that. And yeah, I mean, if just to kind of, let me just see, if you just displayed that and never even wore it, look at that. I mean, it just makes a really neat kind of display in a cabinet. And I don't know, I just can feel kind of the energy from that piece. Now, the way you can tell if one's been fired and actually struck anything is it's lead, really soft. So it's going to have an indentation mark. It will have some kind of scarring on it or whatnot. But if it's a bullet just ended up, losing its steam, hitting the ground, and not having hit anything like a tree or anything hard, it doesn't leave a mark. But what will happen, though, is the oxidation that you see, telling you that this is one that has been fired and was retrieved from the ground. And they just call those musket balls, just a musket ball. It's not a mini ball. That, a mini ball is the name they gave them. And, even for me, for a long time when I was younger, I always thought the mini ball was the musket ball. But the mini ball was the name that was designed by a Frenchman, and it's actually a conical shaped bullet with radial rings around it for stabilization. And quite an amazing, interesting story how effective that design actually was. All right, there's all kinds of lessons for you there. Love Civil War history as well. It's something that the country needs to remember. It's not something that is impossible to occur in this country, and it's something we need to do everything at cost to avoid. Now, here we go. This is good timing to show this next. 104-5722. 104-5722. What we have here, a quartz skull. Look at that. Look at that. With an amazing iris. Look at the irises in this guy. Wow. I don't even have that in the description, but I am seeing some serious irises. My, oh my. That is some beautiful coloring coming out of that brain. And I saw one further back here, I think. Let me see. Let me get my hands out of the reflection. Let me see on that one. Well, that is one just to move around and see what you can find. But nevertheless, there you go. Those of you that love the energy of a quartz skull and couldn't afford the life-size big ones, here you go. Now, not to ruin everybody's belief in the chronicles of the Indiana Jones and the crystal skulls there, but every crystal skull that is in museums to private collections that has been found, every single one, it has been under electron microscope and been debunked as to being made from a culture prior to modern tools. So every single one they've been able to find, maybe, like I said, they used even up to electron microscopes, but they found human tool marks, recent, meaning ever since they had, more power tools. So none of them were more than 100, 150 years old. And I like to believe that there was, 13 crystal skulls, and you put them all together and, whatever the lore it was. I like that stuff. But reality of it was the crystal skulls were carved and made to deceive. There still may be one out there yet to be discovered. Maybe it's this one. Price on this guy, sale price, $38. $38. You couldn't get the piece of quartz to make that for $38. Neat iris piece, iris quartz. And you know what? You should get a really accurate voltmeter because it could be putting off energy. Quartz does that. It's pyro and piezoelectric, and that's something that is a distinct possibility. Okay, I have something really neat by way of gemstones. We're going to do some gemstones here. So let me set up for those. I'll be right back. This is something you have not seen me feature, I don't know, maybe in a few years. I say that because I know a number of years ago, I showcased a few of these from a parcel I have. And I still have some from that parcel. Well, I finally decided that I'm not going to be able to get to mounting all these gems that I've been holding out on you, still thinking that I am going to get to them as projects. Again, reality sits in and you get the benefit of me eccentrically collecting these And now I'm sharing them. And I'm sharing them at the bargains that I paid for them a long time ago. Because you're going to love it. You're going to love some of these deals. Look at this. Look at this incredible color. It is Ceylon. Of course, Ceylon called Sri Lanka now. Look at that. I mean, that is almost, well, it would be a facet grade clarity. But when it stars like that, you don't want to facet it. Let me see. Look at the richness to this color. Well, I tell you what. I like the way they actually cut it so deep. Look at that. Look at that star. Of course, you know, when you see a star, you automatically 100% know that it has not been heat treated. The whole idea of heat treating is to bring the temperature of the gem up to that of near the temperature of rutile without melting the corundum. So what you're trying to do when you have these stones that are a little silky is you're melting that rutile back into the corundum, thus improving the clarity and color. Well, if you did that with a star is formed from rutile lining up in a crystal system that is the same as the corundum, hexagonal, 6 sides. So that's how you get the star. And if you heat treated it, you would be melting that rutile back into the corundum. And yes, you might improve the other. Then it's a heat treated stone. So look at that. Look at that. Look at that rich color. I wasn't sure what to call it, so I called it purple pink. I think looking at it now, that's probably pretty close. Purple pink, probably pretty close. Price on this one, you're not going to believe it. This is really, 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 really old stock too. When this was mined and when I know how long I've had it. I've had it for decades. So this goes way back. Beautiful collector cab. And I have this at a price that, I don't even know. I haven't even seen anything like these being offered anywhere because you're talking about, I still had them as, Ceylon, and of course the country's called Sri Lanka, so I don't know when that change was. Price on it, $58. $58. So that is less than $60 a carat. And I know last time I had purchased any of these, it was actually that or more. And it was for colors that were not as vibrant as what you're seeing right here. So I know that's an excellent, excellent value. Now, I have that stone I'm offering, and let me show you one more. Item number 1047122. And this one, a little bit bigger, carat 52. That one right over a carat. That's kind of cool. This one is right over 1.5 carats. Now, I didn't know what color to call it. I called it purple. I guess it is. It pretty much is. Look at that. What a great, great legs on that beauty. Really well-defined legs. And again, they cut these for the depth. They don't want to waste any of the material. And that's okay. I fully understand that. I fully understand that. Let me show it to you in my hand so you can get an idea of the size. 1.5 carats, 6 by 5 millimeters. And I don't know if there's a flat bottom on that one. This is one, actually, someone like Anthony. I've actually done them before, done double-sided stars. In other words, cabochon and cut that side as well and produce a star, because that star will be going all the way through the crystal. So you can actually do that. And I bet if Mr. Anthony gets that, I bet that's what he would do to it. Let me sit it right there for a moment. Let me look up the price opportunity, and it is a great opportunity. $68. $68 for that. And basis for price is I just wanted to make sure it was less than anywhere else you could ever find anything like that. And it is for certain price like that. Stones like that, oh, I don't know. They're, $200 or $300 in a cost environment, not in a retail environment, in a cost environment. So it would be, especially, they're obvious to be Ceylon stones. Look at that. And that is that color that is definitely purple. So when you figure price per carat on that, that's an excellent value. Now, this next item, oh my, I'm going to have all of you just screaming for it, except there is only one of these that I have. And it is item number 1045822. 1045822. Take a glance. You don't need to see any more than that to know what that is. Let me show you. This, unbelievable. This was one of the largest ones I had out of that parcel. Oops, let's see. That's the wrong item number. Did I give you? Let me see. 1046822. Yep, 6822. 1046822. Obviously, I might have a Tasmanian stick-tight ring coming up, but you have to wait and see. Natural Globe Arizona Sleeping Beauty Turquoise. Stunning. Stunning opportunity. This is the real deal. And you can just see ever so slight imperfections. One of the ways you can always test something like this is use a hot pin method to make sure there's no plastic polymers in it. And of course, I do all that for fun anyway and tested it. And I've had these out of that parcel for a number of years. You've seen me with the little small ones I've offered to you before. This one's a big one. This one is calibrated, and there hasn't even been any of the treatments done to them. Now, there is treatments done to turquoise that oftentimes go almost undetected. Now, one of the ways that is one of the methods that is for certain pretty much method to test for treated turquoise is if it has any inclusion lines. And if you find those, you may not even be able to catch your fingernail, maybe just hairline little fractures that it takes an even magnification of loupe to find at all. If you follow those little inclusions and you see that the color is darker than the surrounding turquoise, that is one sign that it has been treated, that it has been through some form of treatment. And when I was doing a little research, I was absolutely floored at how expensive turquoise was selling for. It was prices that were so higher than the market that I was really, really amazed that they were even asking that much. And would you plug that in, please? I was going to show you, but I just realized my phone has died. So if I can get some charge on it, I will and show you. Because there's a process, and I want all of you, if you're interested in turquoise at all, to look it up. It's called Zachary method. Okay, yeah, price on this particular turquoise, only one I have like it. It's an excellent value. It's only $67. That's only $20 a carat. Okay, now I was going to show you pricing from a leading gem network or leading network that you would be familiar with. And they are very straight up in their knowledge of what they're offering and selling. And they also very good about disclosing the treatments. Every single one of their turquoise that they were offering, and I mean every single one, not only was the price, like on this, in the range of three times what I am asking. And every single one was also listed as having been treated with the Zachary process. Now, how many of you out there are actually familiar with the Zachary process treatment? Very few of you. I have a feeling very few of you. It is a proprietary treatment that no one knows exactly what is being done. But under spectroscopy, which measures elements to the smallest of degree, the closest thing they could discover is that it had a really high phosphorus content, a really, really high content. And that's all they know. But in general, the process fills in the surface pits. It doesn't change any of the other physical attributes or gemstone attributes of the turquoise. But the one thing that it still was a giveaway, if the stone was included enough, was a darkening of the colors along the inclusion lines. And I was really happy to see that. I was really happy to see that, because I have always said that that was a tell, that that was a sign of a turquoise having been through some treatment process, was darkening of the color following the little minute inclusion lines. And I mean minute. You would have to use a loop to see them. But that color, that darkening of the color, still flows in to those openings and intensifies along there, and that does not occur naturally. There's more to the process. We won't talk all about it, but if you're interested in turquoise, that is certainly something you want to examine. It was a very smart person named Zachary that came out with this process. It's been proprietary, and it is used in almost every situation, even in the retail environment. And you know what? It did not affect or seem to alter the price of Sleeping Beauty turquoise in particular, even though it was used across all the others. Sleeping Beauty turquoise with this process was still extremely expensive. This has a great polish. I've had this stone for decades. I know the stone. You want the real deal, there's your one chance at it. I decided to part with it because I knew I probably would not get another chance. And if you want something amazing and stunning, there you go. The only thing I can say, if you're a cutter, here's the downside to it. It was not cut with a back bevel. See that little back edge right there? Anthony knows what I'm talking about. That should have just put a little edge all around there. But you can see in this one, you want to see a little bit of a natural inclusion or a little bit of discoloration in certain places, telling you that is the real deal. Okay, there you go. I hope you learned something. Look up the Zachary process. It's kind of an unknown treatment, but yet it is done to almost all the turquoise out there. They just don't talk about it, but you heard it here. Item number 1045822. 1045822. Since you got a glimpse of it a little bit ago, I had mentioned it. Take a look at this. Take a look at what I have here for you. This is an amazing ring, and it is one of the prettiest natural color combinations between the two. You have Sticktite and Tasmanian serpentine. For those of you not familiar with Tasmania, except for the Tasmanian devil, well, Tasmania is an island off of southern Australia. It is one of the states, I guess. They don't use states of Australia. And this material is really found nowhere else except in the mines on Tasmania. Now, Sticktite, it is one of the very unusual and beautiful stones because of the color. Now, it was named after Stict, who was the general manager of the Lyle Rail and Mining Company of Tasmania. So he got a stone named after him. He didn't even find it, but he got a stone named after him. That's okay, one of these days. It has a hardness of 1.5 to 2, so very soft. And what happens is there's chromite in the serpentine, and the chromite is an iron and chromium oxide. Sticktite is a magnesium chromium carbonate. Isn't that weird? A magnesium chromium carbonate. What happens is the Sticktite replaces the chromite. And in some specimens, pieces, you can actually see that process taking over chromite and the Sticktite coming in and replacing it. And you're seeing the Sticktite, the chromite is some of these darker areas. And you're seeing that right here. Given more geological time, Sticktite would replace that darker area right there. That looks like an animal. It looks like a, I don't know, with a tail, maybe a mutant. But anyway, here's a great ring, can be sized. Nice wide sterling silver piece. Both of those, they're known in the metaphysical world, bring love and happiness. So it's a great piece. And I have a price of only $58 on it. Only $58. If I had this stone, I can't imagine how long it would take me even to make the ring. So yeah, what an unusual and beautiful material Sticktite is, being a magnesium chromium carbonate. That is cool by me. Now, take advantage of that one. Let me show you item 958820. 958820. Here is, look at this. You should know right away where it comes from, at least. If it's chalcedony and it's purplish, there's a really good chance that it is from Turkey. 958820. Don't have it? There's the info on it. Ah, you got it. There you go. That was correct. Beautiful lavender color. Beautiful lavender color. Nice brush finish on the side. So to me, I always like brush finish because you're going to end up scratching it in the jewelry box anyway. So I like to pre-scratch it, I always say. That way I can control the direction it's scratched and whatnot. There's the stamp. Look at that. Wonderful, wonderful color. Let me put it against the white. You can see natural places in the chalcedony to expect to find. And a deal on this of, ready, set, only $44. Only $44 on that. Really nice opportunity. Now, let me show you something. I only have 2 of these. If I could have the neck, please. This is item number 1045622. And that pendant will look great on, let me show you, this necklace. Look at this. Here is what they call Rolo chain. They come up with all these names. To me, it's just cable, but I see why they call it Rolo, because it's round, but it's still based on the cable chain. And cable chain is one of the strongest links ever because it is the link that, of course, anchors are used on, and so it's very stable. Here's the neat thing about this chain. Okay, I have 22 inches, but it is adjustable out to 22 inches. This is one of my favorite, you can see the catch there, designs ever. All right, you see this little button right there? Kind of, it's on a spring. You press it, you hold it in, and what that allows you to do, it grabs the chain. So you can adjust. Look at this, see how I'm pulling it? It pulls either way. You can make it small. I mean, you could, look at that. There you go. I mean, it is so, all the way down to a child size, a child's neck. And then all you do is squeeze these 2 and you can get it to fall wherever you want. I love it. I love it. Now, I'm actually going to send it to you in this. And why is that such a big deal? This bag was designed and has, see, this is what chemistry is all about, has chemicals in it that will absorb the oxygen. I'm not going to get in that part. I would love to tell you the exact reason, but I'm eccentric enough and I won't go there. What I am going to tell you is this bag prevents the chain from tarnishing. So hang on to the bag or put something else in it that you don't want tarnished, because that's what it does. I only have 2 of these. They're only $38 each. Please, 1 per customer on these. I'm not going to put it in the graphic because I know we can all be adults about that, because I know if you had the choice, you'd probably buy several. But yeah, this is a great chain. I highly, highly recommend it. And only $38, but I only have a quantity of 2. So please, just 1 per person. Okay, let me tuck that away. I'll be right back. So, something I don't know if I've ever even offered before. Diamond earrings. I'm showing you these really quick because I have 2 pairs. So I didn't want you to rush in and buy 1 pair without knowing there was another one. These are going to be princess cuts. They're within $10 of each other. I'm going to take these away for now. Let's look and start with this pair. Okay, so you could see a little bit of the difference in size. It was noticeable. The bezel setting helps make these look larger, even though they also do weigh larger. We're looking at 50 points total weight. And the thing about diamond earrings is this is the only time you could really get away with having a quality less than. By that, I mean, no one's going to run around with a loop and run up and put it to your ear. If so, and if they're not a girlfriend or you're, close to be a man in your life, then you need to slap them down, because no one should be getting that close in your personal space. Okay, so if no one runs around with a loop, so the best they can do is look at your diamond earrings outside of your personal space. So that, what, a couple feet away anymore? It's 6 feet away, isn't it? So this is when you can get by with stones that don't have the clarity that you would want in an engagement ring, let's say. Because you know what? An engagement ring, man or woman, what do? They grab your hand and they pull it up to within their viewing distance, depending on their eyesight. For me, I have to have something a little bit further away, so it's 2.5 feet away. Other people, to be able to see things, they have to pull it a little closer. But overall, still, it's what the human eye can see. Now, I've always said, and oh wow, with my 2 jewelry stores and over all these years I've been doing this, I have been a very integral part, and it's kind of neat and special. No, it's very neat and special. Have been an integral part of many people's most precious and probably intimate sacrifice or gift they give to one another, and that's marriage. That's the whole process, the marriage ceremony, the taking the pictures of the hand, the ring, and it has been always a neat feeling to be part of that precious time in their life. Now, we won't talk about the back end of that years later when, I'm melting the wedding band down that says love you forever. But, that's, you start off at least with the right intentions, and then life happens. Now, look at these. What you see, and I always advise this. The human eye can see color. It can't see flaws or inclusions. Now, I'm going to put these others next to it just for reference, because that you learn the best. Which has the better color? And this is what needs to be done, I think, in so many cases, because the whole lesson of the 4 C's doesn't have to be gone through. Pretty much you can figure out a lot of it if you only have one other item to compare to. Without having a comparison, you don't really know the color of these. But as soon as you do, then you can see, oh, okay, so you know what these are called? These are called TLBs. We call them TLBs. And which one, the one on the left or the one on the right, has a little bit more color? TLB means top light brown in the trade. There's actually a little bit of a difference. Luckily, your head is in between the two. And I'd say the one on the right has a little bit more color than the other one. And, but that's okay, because as earrings, again, it's something you don't see. What you do see is what this is doing and this is doing. You see that sparkle? That's what you want to see. That bezel, that makes that whole look even larger. And the bezel, of course, is a great way to set a round stone. It gives it, look at that, a larger appearance. There's no prongs to snag. And you can see there is a lot of metal weight to it as well. And now, here is the 2 side by side. And you can see one is a little bit darker than the other. But it doesn't matter, because no one's going to be able to tell that when you put your head in between the two. Now, this pair of earrings, this is the kind of earring, to be honest, that you're going to see advertised, 1/2 carat total weight, $5.99, and all this other deal, without any education behind it. I'm going to give you the education behind them. I just showed you the comparison. This is going to be an amazing deal, because if you went to have those diamonds mounted, bezel set like that alone, it would be as much as what I'm asking for the pair. True story. $188. $188 for the pair. Look at that. And look how large they are. And you know what? The only person that's going to know the inclusions or the actual real color is going to be you. Is going to be you. The color of someone's hair, the color of someone's skin. All of these factors play a role in basically making inclusions and color disappear in situations like this. Like if you've got a blondish color hair, brownish color hair, certain things that will allow you to buy a pair of earrings for that amount of money that gives you the same look that 3 or 4 times that should be the cost. Now, let me show you the other pair. Item number 1045522. 1045522. All right, we already saw that there was a difference in the color. Now, as you look closer to them, the other thing that's almost impossible to see is the inclusions. There's inclusions in the diamond on the left. Dark inclusions, carbon inclusions, they're often found. This diamond is not, the Princess cut is not only whiter, but it has only like one inclusion in either stone that with a loop you could see. And to the naked eye is very difficult to actually see, and unless you know it's there and then you go back and look for it. Let me wipe the smudges off of these. Now, these are 40 points total weight. So the others are 1/4 carat each. These are 1/5 of a carat each. 20 points, 100 points to a carat. And you can see basket style settings, nicely done, and princess cut, beautiful princess cuts. Even if you don't want them as diamond earrings, wow, they make great side stones. You can see that these are not small. These are not like what I would call starter diamonds, because if I was 14 or 15, I don't know, these seem, those would be awful generous, unless the girl is well versed in keeping up with earrings and is responsible enough. Price on these, I have reduced these, ridiculously. Both pair. This only $177. $177. You will find again that just like that wedding set, just like those other items, these are priced so far below the market. If I went to try to replace them, it would be well beyond that much for just one. Not even counting, think about, and you may know or may have had diamonds set before in a pair of mountings or something else set. That set of mountings, if you went to have those diamonds, if you had the diamonds and got them here at GSN and needed them set, I'm sure that between the labor and the mountings, you'd be looking at pretty close to that amount overall, just for the mountings and labor. So I think everyone knows what a value they are. Only have the one pair, and these are whiter and cleaner, and actually should have been, let me just make sure. Diamond 14, white gold. Yeah, these should actually have been more. Technically, the bezel set ones, the mountings are a lot more, probably about $75 more easily for the labor. It's much harder to bezel set them, and the mountings are a lot heavier. So the mounting value of the ones, the bezel set ones, is a lot greater. And but either way, I mean, you're looking at something that's 1/3 to 1/4 of the value. And if you went to a mall store, the princess cut ones, you'd be looking at probably, it would be one of those deals, $995, 40 point total weight kind of thing. It would be. It really would be for that kind of quality. Yep. Take advantage. I know you will. Either one of those, an excellent value. Okay, I have something fun we're going to do right after this next item, which is, this is really unique. Maybe you have seen it along the way, or maybe I featured it, something like it before. All right. This is Mexican Silomelane. Silomelane. You'll hear it pronounced in different ways. But what it does mean, and we need Miss Penny in Quebec, our little resident person that speaks Greek. The name of this comes from the Greek word silos, meaning smooth, and melos for black. So it means, smooth black in allusion to the form and color. And you can certainly see where it gets that. And if you see the rough of this and how it forms in nature, it does form that as well. Now, look at this. See this pattern? This is what you want. This is the most desirable pattern in this mineral. What is the mineral? It is a manganese oxide. This is one of those forms, kind of like iron oxide. There's many of them. You have limonite, goethite, hematite. You have all these items that are iron oxides, just like in manganese oxide you do as well. Because you have pyrolusite, you have silomelane, they're different forms of manganese oxide. They form as in the dendrites that you always see, manganese oxide. This is a hardness of 5 to 6, but this particular stone is from the most well-known and desirable source for this in the world. It is the Crown of Silver mine. The Crown of Silver mine in Mexico. And when cut properly, you get that really neat form, that really neat eye. Look at that solid back to it. Wonderful, wonderful large bale. And I have a reduced price on this that you will love. How about this? I actually know, it's funny because Miss Penny has been wanting one. Maybe she'll get a chance to get this one because sale pricing it right now at $38. Only $38. And it'd be a good one for her because the whole name pretty much is a Greek word. Silomelane. So as Greek, it would be Silos Milos. And so that's really close. That's really close from the most desirable location that you would want one from. Okay, now I'm going to set that right there for a moment because, because I'm getting ready to set up something I haven't featured. Let's look at the first item number, 1046322. 1046322. And I dug a little deeper into the collection. This will come in a suspension box. You know what those are. Let me put this out. Look at what we're showing you now. You got it. It is exactly what it looks like. And wow, this is a stunning Ethiopian opal, faceted. And look at the colors in that. Look at the colors. And it has that base color, that amber base color. This is going to be a Wellow stone, from the, I guess, newer find, as opposed to the chocolate opals from the original Maseso discoveries of opal in the early 90s in Ethiopia. This one is a large stone and would, you see it right there, 11 by 8.7. So that's as good as close enough to calibrate it at 11 by 9. What an amazing, brilliant opportunity. And this is an opportunity you just don't get too often because I'm making that gem only $48, less than $25 a carat. Only $48. And when I see what these have been being offered at, especially nice bright ones like that, I know that I'm passing that on as a really good value. Now, Let me show you item number 1045222. 1045222. 2 or something like that. All right. This one will come in a another suspension box. And in case you don't know what one of those are, let me just place this in here for a moment. Because I think they're kind of neat to show off. Let's see. 104 6222. Got it? Okay. Carat 80. A carat 80. And you can see that this also is right at around the 11 by 9 calibrated mark. And why I showed you the suspension box is because you don't even have to do anything with it. Put it in the suspension box and put it in a display cabinet. And it looks incredible. Looks incredible. Look at the blue in that. And again, has that nice amber base tint. And, you know, you turn these different ways and all of a sudden you really get some incredible reflections that you don't see in other directions. And price on this guy, how would you like this one for $44? Only $44. Next we have 104 6122. 104 6122. Again, another suspension box, so you can display it if you'd like, just that way. Look at this jewel. Ah, this is a beauty. This has color everywhere. Look at the reds in this one. This is where reds are good, blues are good. You know what? An Ethiopian opal, all the colors actually really radiate out well. And I found that in the faceted material, you know how much of a hydrophane the Ethiopian opal is. In other words, you put it in water and it absorbs water, then dissipates water, and it can really change the clarity or the base color of it. And I found these haven't been affected as much, but you can always play around with it. If you put them in water and they look different, just set them back out and let them dry back out, and they'll revert to the way you see them now. It's funny, they actually can measure humidity in an odd way. If you have accurate scales, I mean scales that go out to the thousandths place, like I have, then as the stone, even in a room, it will, depending on the humidity, absorb and dissipate water as the humidity changes. Or if you want, you know, take it outside and see, and it will actually, the weight will actually change. It will actually change the weight of the stone. When we first got these, and they, you know, people would return them, and in doing quality control and checking to make sure that the right stone was sent back, there'd be discrepancies in the weights of the opals, and the water retention factor, or, you know, the drying out factor had to be taken into account. You send it to a place like the desert of Arizona, and it's going to come back and it's going to be all dry and absorbed out. But the nice thing about this opal is it can absorb and dissipate water over and over and over and over again, and it will not craze, which is really amazing, because Australian opals are very sensitive to drying out and crazing. But this material, it seems it just loves to do that. So anyway, this gem, how about it? 99 points, only $24. Say what? $24. Okay, $24. Wow, it's got to be worth that. Next item is 104 6022. 104 6022. And let's take a look at this guy again in the suspension box. The other thing the suspension box actually does, it does seal the opal in. So it if you leave it in there, it probably pretty much is going to stay that the way you got it, because that box definitely seals it in. This, I think probably everybody would agree would be one of their favorites. This has everything from a flagstone to a harlequin pattern. It has the reds. It has every color. It is a, I don't know, I see a little bit of honeycomb in there. Really a bright stone. Really, 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 really lively stone. And it looks to me, by way of the look, more of like that Australian look, which is a desirable look, as you well know. Price on this guy is probably going to have to reflect that. But I think that the look will certainly justify the value. It's only $34. Only $34. Wow. Wow. If it was Australian, it'd be, a deal at $340 kind of thing. Absolutely. Now, I'm going to show you a stunning, beautiful piece of fossil. 104-5222. 104-5222. Check this out. This is a really amazing piece because, for one thing, I like the way it self-displays. Look at that. Look at that angle. There's not two sides to it. Look at this. Now, this was actually, I think I've told you the story for those of you that have been following me long enough. For those of you that haven't, we've been doing this podcast for like 4.5 years, and we did a live show for, over 9 years before that. So I know a lot of people have been following me for over a decade, and you've gotten to see different corals along the way. I had 14 aquariums at one time where I used a lot of these corals in my aquariums, fresh and salt water. The chalcedony is inert to, of course, both. And being the fact that it's fossilized coral, look at that. Look at that. It still looks like natural coral out here. Of course, is going to go well in a tank without any effect to the tank. Now, look at this. Look at these formations. Wow. A friend of mine, before he passed away, John, he had grandfathered rights on being able to mine, so to speak. Look at that. Certain areas along the Withlacoochee. The Withlacoochee runs through Lowndes County in Georgia, then goes into South Carolina, into Madison County, and Hamilton County, not South Carolina, in Florida. So you have Madison and Hamilton County, and then Lowndes County. 3 counties the river winds through where the coral is. The Withlacoochee River is one of the unusual rivers in the fact that it actually flows north. Of course, most rivers you always think of flowing south, either along the fall line, which is the line where they either break and flow into the Atlantic or flow into the Gulf of Mexico. And there's a particular, what they call the fall line, which direction they go. Well, these in northern Florida actually flow north, kind of bucking the trend there. Quite unusual. But look at that. Dave giving you a tour. Look at the amazing, beautiful blue color on the chalcedony. Look at this one where the saw went right through there. Really great time. John was amazing at the way he could use the saw, and somehow he just, look at that, he had a feel for missing the great stuff and, intersecting other perfect formations that really brought out and created an unusual piece. Look at this other little opening there. Look at that. That's really neat. Put that in an aquarium. Oh my, fish would absolutely love it. Look at, there's something totally behind that wall there. This piece, just really unusual. And I had these, he offered these items at such great value for me. Price on this guy, well, how about this? Only, he had to dive it. See that it's polished. Then he had to put it on a flat lap and polish. Can't imagine all the work. $58. Only $58. And you know what? This coral's getting harder and harder to find. They've really started doing restricting people on the river, on the claims, and the ecology and the environment of everything they're doing, and making it more and more difficult. Remember, this is a fossil. This took 25 to 35 million years to form. It took Florida being underwater for the coral heads to grow. Then the seas receded, then the rivers had to pass through and dig their way down to where the coral heads were. And then man came along and had to find it. That doesn't happen in one person's lifetime. That takes millions of years to occur. There's not any more coral that's going to be agatized anytime soon. Keep that in mind. Let's look at item as the clock is ticking down. 1032321. I have a piece here that is an estate piece, and there is such a thing as estate pieces to minerals. They come with old collections, and with those collections, sometimes you get labels and you get pieces that are no longer available because mines are shut down, sealed. Let's look at this. Here is, you can see by the yellow color of the box how old this is. Look at the label. Depending on how you want to pronounce it, Desclorzite, from the Burkaucus mine in Grootfontein, Southwest Africa. Now, that gives you an idea right there about how old this piece is, because Southwest Africa was the name of Namibia before 1990. After 1990, it got its independence, and its name became Namibia. So right there, 1990, that's already 32 years ago. Who knows how long it was mined before that? The mine closed in 1978. So there you go, already. So now we're back to 1978. So that's now it's 44 years ago. Declorzite is a lead zinc vanadate, vanadium and oxygen vanadate. Hardness 3.5. Named in honor in 1854 of Alfred de Cloizeau. And this piece, very rare in the labeled box. Let's look at the crystals. Look at the crystals. This is such a rare collector's piece. It is something you could go to a gazillion shows. Gazillion's a real number. No. And never see a single one being offered. Look at the crystals on the other side. And look at the little white crystals. Those I have yet to, it does look like brown sugar. I have yet to figure out what the little white inclusions are. Inclusions, white crystals are. Look at the difference in the color of the declorzite here versus after being, looks like oxidation here. This is basically a stunning double-sided piece that has something interesting to show on either side. Look at the size of that. This is a real rarity, and in an old box to prove it. If you don't have one of these, you can add to your collection something really unique and rare. I'm going to make a little bit of a sale opportunity on this one. We're going to have our all sale show. I know a lot of you have been wanting that because I haven't done it yet. I've been promising it. So it's going to be coming up. I haven't forgot. But right now, we're going to offer this individual one into the sale category and make it only $118. $118. It's one of those, it's like, go find another one. You wouldn't be able to do it. There's just not another one to be found. Let me show you. Let me show you something. Wow. Item 949220. 949220. Check this out. Now, if I said to you, this is a sphinx, you'd say, what? Where is the sphinx? Well, let's check out this guy right here. There is so much clinochlor, also known as chlorite. Clinochlor inclusions in this crystal that it almost is all clinochlor. But when you get to looking, you can spot other sphenes. I love it. You can see where it's actually twinned. You can see the twinning of it. And then look at that beautiful little green sphen right down in there. Let me get a little pointer that doesn't seem to be too affected by the clinochlor right down there. You have others. Look at that. There's other sphenes right there. Over here, let's look and take a spin. Look at these. You have little sphene crystals growing throughout. Look at these clinochlor, little like rosettes. And as we come around here, this is one of those specimens that you can just get a loop and look at and look at and look at. Look at sphene there. There's so many actually other minerals, I think, to be discovered here that you'd have a lot of fun doing that. Now let's come right back to this sphene. I am going to put a light on this. Let's see what we have. Let's see what kind of color we bring out in this. Let's go. There we go. There's the green. See, it really is sphene color. This color that you expect sphene to be. Look at, there we go. There we go. Look at that. But there is so much clinochlor in it that it kind of cuts out on the light. Thank you, sir. But it's very neat and unusual to actually have that formation. Now, you see, I just noticed, see these? They look like they're calcites. Look like they're calcites. This would be one to go to the closet with, meaning check out the ultraviolet lighting and see what glows, what doesn't glow. This is a great small cabinet specimen. A lot to offer. Has chlorite, hematite, calcite, lots of good stuff going on with it. And what an excellent value on this one. You know why? I am making this guy only $77. $77. Something like this, I can't imagine how much something like that at a show would even be. A lot more than that. Beautiful piece. Beautiful piece. Add it to your collection. You will love it. You will love it. Okay, last item of the show. 1038621. 1038621. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. Wow. Okay, what do we have? Manganoan calcite. Look at that. You see that pinkish color? That is not cobaltoid calcite, manganoan, meaning manganese is affecting that color. Look at this. This is very, very desirable. Let's come in close and look at that incredible, beautiful, bright, and lively pyrite. You have quartz, pyrite. This is one to take to the closet as well because of the calcites. Look at coming around this piece. Look at these crystals. You're really difficult to see them because they blend in with the others, but there, look at that. There's just a row of, look at that, calcites and quartz. Then, look at this. You know what that is? You should. Fluorite. Fluorite. And again, the closet will tell you that if you have an ultraviolet light, because you have calcite, fluorite. I bet this one really shows itself off. And one more thing. Let's look, Dave, if we could, right in here. Look at that. You have some beautiful crystals right there that look like some calcites. This is a great one to explore. And yeah, there's some other minerals to discover on this one as well. Ready, set? Here we go. Price on it. How about this? How about, I'll sale price this one. I'll sale price this. Let's make it only $34. $34. All right, we'll be right back with the trivia. All right, had a great show. Of course, you know, what did I say? All the items would fit in a little shoebox today, right? Yep. Small items, except for that coral. That was one of the bigger ones. Next week, wait till you see next week. Great stuff every week, eh? Yeah, more to come. Okay, let's get to the trivia questions. All right, now let's go. There's 2 questions, so listen carefully. What is the name of the most common and effective, meaning most effective, treatment done to turquoise? What is the name of the process or the treatment that is the most common and effective method of treating turquoise? So I said it a couple different ways. So, you know, it is amazing. When I read so much more about it, you should too, especially if you do anything with turquoise or just love turquoise. It's something you need to know about. Didn't have time today to show you the picture of Miss Gabby's Christmas tree, but I'm going to because I wanted to. I also wanted to show you and talk about more turquoise because it's such, it's one of the longest and oldest mined gems, period. You know, that and like lapis, going back 7,000, 8,000 years ago. So you need to know more, right? Okay, next question. What element besides cobalt? What element? And cobalt really doesn't do this soft of a color, but I just wanted to make sure that you didn't say cobalt. What element makes calcite turn a soft, light-colored pink? Maybe occasionally it can be darker, but most commonly it's a soft, lighter colored pink. What element creates and causes that? It's something you should know. All right, that was a lot of fun. Got a mess, but the Raven's here to help me out. And I hope all of you are staying safe. And, you know, I'm looking forward to predicting another snow, but I doubt if it's going to happen this time. Or at least it'll happen when they don't expect it to happen. That's the best kind. God bless all of you. Thank you for all of your kind comments. And I can't thank you enough for your continued support of this show and gem shopping. Tell your friends and neighbors about it. And I'll appreciate every person and all of you. Cheers.